Enneagram coach. And we have talked about some amazing things. You need to make sure you go watch that podcast. And while you're watching this, why don't you like and subscribe if you are enjoying it and leave us some comments. But I just had to have a little more time with Beth. And we want to talk about a story or two where she could see how Enneagram can be life-changing, because it is life-changing, and there are plenty of those stories. So, Beth, can you give us a story or two where you just went, wow, now that's really neat?
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories is really my husband and I. And the reason, and this is kind of why we got into the Enneagram. So we got married at 20. And as we all know, we don't even know ourselves really very well at 20. And so here we're trying to get over ourselves, let alone this other person. And turbulence can be created in all of that. And I remember Jeff often wanting to know me better. And I was like, I don't know, I just did that because I just did, I just didn't understand. Well, after around year 6, we kept having these little turbulences and conflicts. And we had a friend say, hey, why don't you learn about the Enneagram? So I started reading about it, and I was amazed at how much clarity it brought to me. And here I was finally able to let Jeff know, oh my gosh, I'm a peaceful accommodator. I don't like conflict and tension and discord. And my husband he's a type 6, but the type 6 is actually, there's a wide variety of them. Mm-hmm. And he's much more of kind of the go-getter type. So he brings a lot of energy and excitement, especially when we were younger. And so that energy felt like tension or conflict. Well, my type is really adverse to that. So when I would sense this big energy, it felt like, is he upset with me, or is there something wrong? And so I would start to shut down or check out or numb out or disassociate, or while I would physically leave. Well, for him being a type 6, that felt like physical or emotional abandonment, which is one of his biggest fears as a type 6.
Yes.
So when he sensed that, of course, he didn't know what was internally going on. Like, he didn't have words for it, but he felt desperate to reach out relationally and get us back on the same page. Well, him reaching out of that fear felt like bigger tension and bigger conflict. And so then I'm wanting to shut down even more. And around we would go with this dance. And so when I realized I was a type 9, I recognized, oh, I'm shutting down, which is only ramping up your fear, which is ramping up the very thing that I don't want to experience. So what we realized is, okay, when Jeff is feeling energetically big, and let's say it's a conversation we need to have, then I'm going to automatically, my brain's going to start to shut down because it's in fear. And what I need to do is say, hey, I am for us, but my brain is not working quite right now. So I need to go take some time to process this. But that doesn't mean that I'm leaving you or us. Like, I'm all for us, but I need some time. And just that little shift, even though he didn't like it, I mean, he would rather talk about it in the moment and feel secure and assured about a relationship. At least it brought clarity to what was happening within me, and that it wasn't a direct assault necessarily against our relationship, or that I was about, because he even said one day, are you about ready to leave me? And I was shocked, like, wait, what? No, like that's never been on my mind. But once I realized, oh, when I numb out or check out or don't engage or literally withdraw, that's what it feels like to you. And that's not what I'm trying to communicate. I just need some space.
Yes.
And so by understanding his fear as a type 6, so being abandoned or not having the security he needs, by me not knowing that, I was creating this dynamic. But by understanding it, taking off my lens and putting on his lens, I was like, oh my goodness, let me do this in a whole different way because I do need time to process. Because as a nine, I don't know myself very well. We have this internal fog. So I do need some time to process, but we matter to me. Like this matters, this relationship matters. So by going away now, I will say one funny thing he did say was, that's so much you don't come back and talk about it. 'Cause it's still possible conflict. And I was like, okay, fair enough. If I do that, I will promise that if I, go away to think and process, that I won't use that as a time to just never come back and ghost you. I'll come back and we'll deal with it. So there was a funny part about that. But I think that's where our relationship really started to change and take off was just by seeing the world through each other's lens. So he understood, oh, my big energy, even though he didn't mean for it to come across as he's disappointed in me or he's upset with me, he just excitement, or like energy. He realized, oh, he has to come to those conversations with a little bit more self-regulation and understanding that how he can come across can really affect me as well. So in a relationship, whether that is spouse relationship, parent-child relationship, co-working, whatever, understanding each other's perspectives and working with one another, you can radically change your relationship for the better.
Yes. Oh, that is so good. So good. And what's so neat is you have fixed it up where people can learn all this. Either, number one, you've trained thousands of coaches
Yeah.
that people can engage with and get like that one-on-one attention. Because some of that you're saying, I'm like, oh, I see that. But I don't know if I could make the connections quite as good as you did,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what our coaches are trained to do is to understand how each of the 9 types function on a much deeper level than what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And to be able to reflect back and to ask good questions and to guide them. And what we do with Enneagram coaching, because it's kind of unique in itself, is that, the Enneagram is like this internal map. And you and I know how to read a paper map because we come from a different generation.
Yeah.
But my kids, I don't think they would know how to really read a map. Like if all GPSs were gone, I think they could get on the highway, but to really get down into the minutia,
Yeah.
they haven't learned all the details and the legend and all the things that go in it. So that's how the Enneagram is. So the Enneagram is like an internal map. And we have to learn how this map works in order to be able to effectively use it for real growth.
Yeah.
So coaches, what we're doing is we're helping to kind of teach or train each of the clients in how to read their own map, but also other maps, like maybe your spouse or your child. And by doing that, you will then be able to navigate your relationships, whether with yourself or others, more effectively.
And then you've got, you want to hold up your books or point to them real quick?
Yeah. So we have 12 books. So this is Enneagram for Moms. And behind me are the 9 journals. The 9 journals are one for each Enneagram type. So if you're wanting to just explore your own type, that is a great way to do it. Those are also kind of fun to do small groups with because each day is the same general topic, but then it's nuanced for each type. Or spouses can do, their books together, etc. So those are really fun. And then we have our marriage book called Becoming Us. And then our personal journey memoir called More Than Your Number. And that's really our own journey of understanding how our type works on a much more deep and complex way. But we simplify it. And so each of our books at the back are cheat sheets on how each of the type operates. So they're great references to have on the coffee table or your nightstand when you're like, why is my husband or why is my wife doing this? Just pick up the book, read a little section. You're like, oh, thank you. That makes so much more sense. And then like I said earlier, we train coaches. We have a podcast. We kind of just done a little bit of all the things and have really enjoyed the process of just helping people discover themselves, but more importantly, to grow into the healthiest version of who God has created them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And you definitely, now you're in businesses and everything. In fact, when you were talking about the book on the coffee table, we have a lake house, so lots of times you have friends down for the weekend or whatever. And one of our favorite topics, if it's kind of slow, is we start talking about the Enneagram and seeing if they know their number. And we pull out your book and go, here, does this sound like you? And it's fun. And it's great for relationships and dealing with your kids, but it's also good about teaching you about you and how to be a happier and better you. And so I think it's great. And we so appreciate you being with us today. Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me. This was such a delight.
You bet.
Yeah, and they can find everything pretty much at yourenneagramcoach.com. And
Awesome.
we're happy to support and help people wherever they're at in life.
All right. Thanks, Beth. And hope to see Jeff sometime.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay. Well, have a great day. And thank y'all for being here. Like and subscribe if you like us. Bye-bye.